Hello and welcome back to Let Him Find You. And if this is the first time that you've watched my videos, this is for you as a single woman. Maybe you've come out of a divorce, or you widowed, or you've been in in and outs of lots of relationships, or maybe you're even a single mom and getting into a relationship with a great man has been difficult for you for whatever reason. These videos are for you to give you some distinctions. I'm telling you some stories about different women to help you get into this great place where actually, instead of searching and worrying about where you're going to go or what you're going to do to find somebody, you let him find you. And so today I am responding to some of the emails and letters. Letters? Do we have letters nowadays? No, emails that I've had come in. And the one particular is from a lady from Australia. And she was saying some very nice things about my videos, thank you very much. And she was saying how helpful it had been for her to be able to recognise what she'd been doing in the past. And like me, she'd had 2 marriages and, children and, numerous relationships. And she said by watching the videos, what she'd recognised is what she'd been doing in the past that really had not worked for her. She could see it. It was like, she said, I sort of like looked back and I could see in each and every relationship what I'd been doing and why I'd had the experience that was really unpleasant and actually in some points quite painful. And she also said it gave her some distinctions of what to do differently. And then she asked me a question because she was having a long distance relationship. And her question was, well, how can I act? In what way would you recommend I behave? What would you think I should do in terms of getting this relationship from where it is right now, which is just, Tony and I were just talking about it, and Tony was saying, yeah, you see, when you live so far apart and you're maybe just emailing or you're talking or maybe you're on Skype, so you're seeing each other or whatever, it's definitely just an emotional relationship. So you're in a relationship, but it's definitely not the same as like a physical relationship or a place where you spend a lot of time together or live together or are married. And so she was asking me these questions, and it sort of made me think about a few examples that I've got of where long distances or distances between you or massive differences in lifestyles can be a really, really big challenge. And also, of course, the advent of dating sites, which many of you are on dating sites, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. But just that actually, because when you go to a dating site, you're so much more likely to find somebody that you connect with who is all over the world maybe, but even if you put in the UK, if you're in the UK, even if you unless you're going to put in your absolute local area, you could very easily get in connection with somebody who's quite a long way away. And of course that in itself gives certain problems. And I was talking to one of our VIP clients, which means that she has like half a day with me every month where we sit down and go through and chat and distinctions, and if she's kind of connected with somebody on a dating site or in person, we talk about it. And last time I saw her, she said, yeah, she's got this guy on the dating site, and it's a very specific dating site to her religion and to her age group and all that sort of thing, so it's all really good. She's connected with him, but of course he lives in a different country. Now she's quite a travelling kind of person, and has had for many years a business where she travels all over the world, so she's very kind of capable and very kind of comfortable with travelling. But of course the relationship has started to get slightly more kind of connected, and they're starting to say, yeah, I really like you and let's talk on the phone and all that kind of stuff. And then he said maybe we could get together in some part of the world, you see. So she said, she was obviously quite excited about that, and we started to talk about it. And I asked her a question. I said, so what are you imagining then that you're going to do next? Because he said, imagine like to have a weekend together and, could we meet in this part of the world, you see? So I said to her, what are you thinking about doing? She said, well, I've thought, I can make the dates, but she said, then I've got to think about, I'll book my flights and I'll book a hotel and, find out where to meet him. And I kind of went, hold on just 1 minute. Is that how you'd love it to be? Because, when I tell people my story about how Tony found me, when I think about some of the things about the story, where he actually kind of made things happen that I just kind of went, like, this isn't unusual. This has never happened for me before. Because he'd kind of like book things or make things happen or be there. Like my favourite story was that, like, when I flew from China to Malaysia, and he was waiting there for me to pick me up from the airport, and he didn't even know what time my flight was. He'd been there 4.5 hours with a taxi waiting outside. Now, taxis in Malaysia are quite reasonably priced, but it was still extremely impressive because I hadn't had to think about anything. And that's why when I said to her, I said, tell me something. I said, how would you love it to be? Just tell me the story. Imagine you're telling me this is what happened in the dream of how a relationship would start and how he found you. And she went, oh, that's easy. She said, he would say to me, I'd love to get together with you for the weekend. Now look, I realise we haven't, met yet, and I realise that you will be, wanting your privacy and things like that. So look, I'd like to meet you there if you're available those dates, and if you can give me the name on your passport, I've booked you a plane seat, and I've booked into a hotel, and you have your own room, and I have my own room, and we're going to have a lovely weekend getting to know each other. That's how she described what she'd love. And so I said to her, quite harshly, well, how far is that away from telling the story that he said we'd like the weekend together? And so I booked my flight and I booked my hotel, and he told me where to meet him, and I turned up. I said, they're like chalk and cheese, yes? She said, yeah, absolutely. I said, so here's the thing. When a man says something like that to you, you need to, as Tony and I have said over many, many years, you need to leave the gap. You need to just use those lovely words, which I might have said before, but it's a good time to say them again, which is, I'd love it. I'd love it. I'm free those dates. I'd love it. Tell me, tell me what time to get to the airport, or just, I'd love it. I'd love to be there. And then to say nothing else. And then by the way he responds, you will get the measure of the man. Now, what do I mean by measure of the man? If you're like me, which I know many, many women are, what our dream is of a man finding us is that actually he takes care of us. Now that doesn't mean we lie about at home doing nothing, although that's a very nice thought. It doesn't mean we don't work. It doesn't mean to say we don't have a business. It doesn't mean to say we don't do anything. We don't book anything. We don't do anything. It means that he takes some great decisions about what's great for us as a couple. And that's the experience that I've had now for about 11 years. Tony's in charge of making the decisions that are good for both of us. And of course, he knows me inside out, so he knows what I love, and so we do what I love. Just about 5 minutes ago, or I don't know how long I've been speaking for, but like 7 or 8 minutes ago, Tony's behind the camera, and I said to him, oh, I'd love it if, when we finished here in the studio, that we go somewhere. And he went, oh, of course. I was not even considering us going home. It's a beautiful sunny day. We're going out. Now, I don't have to think about it. He will decide where to go, when to go, how to go, where to eat, because he's thinking about us and what my needs are and what will be lovely. So it's exactly the same when you're single. What you need to do is go, what would I love to have happen? And then just leave that gap so that he can step into it. Because if he steps into it brilliantly, doesn't that tell you the measure of the man? Doesn't that tell you how he's going to act when you are together, if this is the right person for you? It's a bit like I always say to single women, I would say, if you go out on a date, hope something goes wrong. And they go, oh, that's very weird. Why would you hope something goes wrong? And I would say, so that you can tell two things. Firstly, see how he deals with it. So if it's something goes wrong, like he gets to a restaurant and there's, he's made a reservation, but there's no tables or whatever. If he goes berserk at the bloke behind the counter, you can tell that this is a habit that he gets angry with people. This would be not great. You wouldn't be attracted to that. But actually, if he goes, that's absolutely fine. I understand, double booking. How can you help us? Guess what? This is the kind of person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. So I said gave you two things. It first of all gives you how he deals with something going wrong. But the second thing, it helps you to see whether you do some of that old pattern, which as many women do, which is to jump in and try and solve the problem, which is only the same as this client of mine who was trying to make it kind of easy for him by going, well, look, let me pay for the, let me book and pay for, the flight and the hotel. It's like this, this lady in Australia who I always respond, by the way, in writing privately to any of your questions, is what I'll be saying to her, as I'll be saying, look, he's in another country from you. All you have to do is say, I'd love it if we could spend some time together. Leave him with that problem of solving that problem. Don't give him ideas, helpful suggestions, all those things which A, will never work with a man, because what he'll do is, if he's weaker, which I know so many women go, oh, men are so weak, they're hopeless and all that. If he's weak, he'll just let you take care of him, which I know you don't like. And if he's strong, he'll go, she's trying to tell me what to do, which even if he doesn't think about that consciously, unconsciously he'll go, this is the woman that keeps telling me what to do and how to arrange things. I think it might be a better idea not to move towards her. So, good. So I hope that's really been helpful for you, because I know many of you have written in about the fact that you have distances and how do you behave towards that? What do you do? But the key to remember is, first of all, I'd love it if. Secondly, yes, I'd love to come, with no kind of ideas or suggestions of how all that happens. And thirdly, just to recognise that when we put out a great energy, even if this is on dating sites or when we're out and about or even when we're at home, we put out a great energy of a feminine, healthy, calm, non-trying, non-controlling energy, that a great man, completely unconsciously, will just want to move towards us. So that's it from today, and do keep telling me how you're getting on and sending your letters and your emails, because I love that. And until next week, bye bye for now.